Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the Diablo Resources ASX code DBO investor webinar today. I'm Abby Phillips from Jane Morgan Management. Diablo is advancing two high-value critical minerals projects in Utah, a Tier 1 jurisdiction at the core of America's future supply chain. The focus is silver, antimony, and copper, all newly recognized by the US government as critical to national security technology and a clean energy transition. I'm joined today by Chairman Paul Lloyd and CEO Lyle Thorne, who will walk us through the recently lodged investor presentation, followed by some Q&A. Paul, I'll now hand it over to you.
Diablo has a tight capital structure, and we are going to grow the market capitalisation. At the moment, it's only 5.5 million. We have two very exciting critical minerals projects in Utah. Utah is a really good state to operate. It's a very mining-friendly state. Obviously, it's the home of one of the largest porphyries in the world, the Kennecott mine just outside of Salt Lake City. And we have our logistics base in Moab in Utah. We know the area. We have been working there extensively in the past, and we have a management team that can discover projects. I won't go through the detail there, but we've recently appointed Matthew Blumberg, who is an MBA Yale University graduate. He's based in New York and has extensive contacts in Washington. So he's been a great addition to the board of directors. And I just wanted to say basically that we have a tight capital structure. The top 20 are substantial shareholders. We have 33% in the top 20, and we are poised to create value through these two critical minerals projects in Utah. I recently visited both projects with Lyle. Lyle was over there for about 5 weeks planning the drilling and getting out to the Star Range project. One thing that did impress me was the previous workings at the Star Range project, some high-grade silver workings, and we can see that there's extensive mineralization in that area. What we need to do now is further exploration, applying a modern exploration technique. These old workings were done many, many years ago, and Lyle is the ideal guy to apply that modern exploration technique. But I won't steal all his thunder. He's been over there for the last 5 weeks, so there's a great opportunity for shareholders to obtain an update on what Lyle's been doing in the US.
Thank you, Paul. Good morning to everybody. So Diablo, US focus for critical minerals, principally copper, silver, and antimony. These three minerals have been copper and silver have been recently added to the critical minerals list by the United States Geological Survey, and federal initiatives certainly helping with that domestic supply and security of the domestic supply. Things like the Fast 41 tracking of the BLM permitting, and in a Tier 1 jurisdiction like Utah, who are pro-mining and are very experienced with mining, these sort of things are of great benefit to us. And the other thing, obviously, with silver and copper, the prices certainly going up due to supply constraints. We see a fantastic opportunity, and we're very excited about the projects that we have at the moment. Price forecast, I'll just quickly go through this. Obviously, all three are expected in the future to increase due to the electrification, both domestically in the US and the world, of course. Copper for electric vehicles and wiring, etc. Silver also for things like photovoltaic consumption, and antimony for things like batteries and from the military. So we see those three minerals and the potential moving forward as a good driver for us. I'll just go into our two projects. So we like Utah. We've had a lot of experience in Utah over the years. We've got a team that is based in Utah, as Paul said, and those guys know the country really, really well, and they're a great advantage to us getting things done over there, from obviously just doing on-the-ground exploration to things like permitting. So our two projects, the Star Range silver antimony project in southwest Utah, and the Phoenix copper project in southeast Utah, which is closer to our field base in Moab. We like the Star Range project because of historical results of some bonanza silver grades of 8,700 grams per tonne silver, plus some antimony. Antimony wasn't the focus in the past, so we see that as an advantage to the work that we're doing now, is to better define and clarify the potential for antimony as well as the silver. And we've got started exploration, which has included surface sampling and geophysics. At Phoenix, we released to the market not that long ago that we've started drilling at our high priority Fair Dinkum and Philadelphia prospects, and I'll go into that in a little bit time. With firstly Star Range, so we've got 14.5 square kilometres in a historical mining district. You might be able to see on those maps the little crosses, which are old workings, and as Paul said, and I'd just like to reiterate, the amount of old workings in this area is exceptional. They must have been like ants crawling over the ranges in the 1800s, just exploring and prospecting. There's just so many old workings that need to be further defined, and that's our aim, obviously, at this project, is just to see what the old timers were doing. The Horn Silver Mine is an interesting one. It was a very rich silver mine 100 odd years ago, and those figures there, which are pretty impressive, was apparently produced from a single 20-acre mining claim. So it was all concentrated into a small area, but super high grade. And the Milford Copper Mine, which is just about 9 kilometres to the north of us, it is an operating mine at present, and mainly for copper. So Star Range, what we liked about it was historical work, which just included soil sampling and rock chip sampling to find some super high grade silver. And I say the antimony had been partially looked at, but certainly not fully. And that's the opportunity that we jumped on. There's obviously historical work that we need to follow up, and also stuff that as we do our work and the guys are on the field seeing things and following things along, that it brings up new potential opportunities and prospects. Just to reiterate what I've sort of said, the exploration is ongoing. We've got surface mapping and sampling. We're also mapping the old workings to find out the characteristics of what there is there. And we just recently completed a drone mag survey, and we're pretty eager to get the results of that. That's a high resolution magnetic survey. And just quickly put those photos in context, you can see our guys at some of the old workings. That one down the bottom with the mesh is what the BLM do to secure the shafts and pits to stop people falling in and hurting themselves. So that's what that one is. Our other project is Phoenix. Now, we've been here since the start of the year. This is a well-known copper mining district. The Lisbon Valley Copper Mine has been operating on and off since 2005, and that sits in between our two copper claim blocks, the CC claim block and the State Line claim block. And we've had indications of copper from both of those prospect areas. The Lisbon Valley Mine is a heap leach operation, has the capacity to produce on its nameplate of 54 million pounds per annum, and has a 743 million pound resource. There's multiple pits, and these are all associated with the structures, which you can see as they barrel away through the lower Lisbon Valley. But Fair Dinkum is the one that we're particularly excited about at the moment. It sits along strike from known copper deposits. It sits in the right rocks, and it sits on a big structure, and they are all ingredients at Lisbon Valley which are known to host copper mineralisation. We've located a copper-bearing outcrop in first quarter of this year, and the number of samples that we collected there averaged nearly 1% copper and some silver. We also found some malachite chips on the ground near an old rehabilitated drill site from, we think, around 2005. And this gave us some great confidence moving forward. This was a target we wanted to drill. And we started drilling only a couple of weeks ago at Fair Dinkum and also at Philadelphia. So Philadelphia sits on the other side of the valley and the copper mine. This one has old workings, which the old timers were scratching around in the 1900s and also a bit later on in the 1960s. We have done a lot of surface sampling over some 700 odd metres. There's copper outcropping where we've taken some channel sampling and got some pretty interesting results, 6 metres to 2% at surface. That led us to plan our first drill program only a couple of months ago. We did some wide space early scout drilling over that, some 400 metres of strike. And one of our holes on the easternmost traverse got us 10 metres at 1.02% copper. This is open and is obviously requires more drilling, which is part of the current program. So our next steps, I guess I'd just like to put across that we've are very busy at the moment at both projects. We've got drilling at Phoenix and we've got mapping and sampling happening at Star Range together with the aeromagnetics. Our team is experienced, both in country and over here in Australia. Our guys know the Utah region and surrounding states very, very well. And this helps us with not only getting the exploration completed, but also looking for other opportunities in the critical mineral sector in the US, because we see it as a real opportunity with the current government and their push to secure domestic supply of critical minerals. That's all I've got to say. Thank you for listening, and I'll hand back to Abby.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Lyle. So we do have a few questions here. Just to start off, so you've confirmed shallow copper over a long stretch at Philadelphia and mineralization remains open. What gives you confidence that this could grow into a much larger system with further drilling?
Well, sort of hopefully, as I just touched on, the amount of old workings and copper at surface is what got us excited about Philadelphia. It's old scratchings and shafts over some 700 metres that the old timers looked at and had never been drilled before. So we obviously were the first people to put some wide-spaced holes into it. We got some interesting results, and we need to follow those up to extend and define the mineralisation both along strike and at depth. But it's certainly the old timers did chase it for quite some time, and that's the impetus. I think it's never been drilled.
And then another question here is, how quickly could Phoenix progress towards a resource with assays pending from current drilling? What's the pathway to demonstrating continuity and tonnage?
Well, it's early days at Phoenix. We've only just started drilling, but I think certainly at Fair Dinkum we've identified a very exciting target that has all the broad characteristics and similarities of what's known copper deposits in the Lisbon Valley. We'll wait for our results and get the team to review the geology and go from there. But should results be encouraging, we'd certainly fast track drilling and exploration to give us a better understanding of the potential size of these things and where we go. But it's certainly very early days, but we're very hopeful of some encouraging results.
And then Star Range has some exceptional silver results at surface. Are you seeing early signs that the high grade zones could continue at depth across the broader project area?
Again, we've only just started at Star Range, but as we've sort of said, the amount of our workings along these prospective structural trends gives us a great amount of hope. We've just done the air mag survey, which should give us some good subsurface indications. We'll get that modelled and interpreted and get our rock chips back, and then we'll start planning how we go forward, which will obviously be drilling. But yeah, it's early days, but these structures are persistent, and we hope they persist at depth too. And that's what that work aims to find out before we drill.
And now Fair Dinkum has delivered strong early grades. What are the key things you're looking for in the current drilling to show there's a commercial scale discovery taking shape?
I sort of touched on that. The drilling is aiming to basically just see what occurs down dip along strike from the surface outcrop. As I said, the Fair Dinkum prospect sits along strike from known deposits in a very similar geological setting. And you know, if you're looking for copper deposits and you've got a good understanding of what the copper is in the area, then this is all encouraging signs and definitely worth putting some holes into.
And then can you expand on the federal policy tailwinds? How is Diablo directly benefiting from the US recognition of copper and silver as critical minerals?
Yeah, Abby, there's been a massive change in the US under this current administration. BLM permitting has just changed completely opposite. And one of these projects, we put an application form in for drilling approvals. We're very experienced at that, expecting a 6-week turnaround, and it was 48 hours. So again, remembering that both projects sit in mining friendly mining areas where both projects you can see producing mines. So we're not disturbing areas that haven't been disturbed previously. So for a permitting point of view, it is a fantastic place to operate. We're in Utah, and also just the encouragement by this current Trump administration in regards to funding. There are a lot of opportunities, and Matthew Blumberg in New York will drive that. And as we have discoveries, we will get more funding from the US. But just as a takeaway for shareholders and potential shareholders, the reason why we're at both these projects is so obvious when you walk the ground. We see producing mines within sight of all the projects. You see large numbers of historical workings. Granted, that was a very long time ago. We've tested material from those pits, and they're very high grade in copper, in silver, in antimony, and they've never been subjected to any modern exploration techniques. So what Lyle is trying to do is apply modern exploration techniques to determine structures that will create commercial scale mines. It's a pretty bloody good chance that you're going to find something when you've got all that artisanal working. They've done a lot of the work for us. We're following that up, and we have producers within sight. So from an exploration risk, it's a fairly good bet that we're going to find something, and it's the right time and the right place to find something in the US, because you've got a government that is incentivizing lots of organizations to create internal supply of critical commodities.
And then what sets Diablo apart from other US copper explorers?
I think our management team, we have been in the US extensively. Our operating team are based in Moab. The Lisbon Valley is a major copper producer, the second largest copper producer in all of Utah, and we can get things done. So we're actively and fast tracking our exploration at the Lisbon Valley copper area, and also at the Star Range silver antimony. We know that critical minerals are important, and we're going to fast track that. We have the people to do that.
Fantastic. So now expanding on permitting, can you please talk to the land status and ownership?
The land status is Bureau of Land Management ground, and each claim is a 20-acre claim. There's a process of picking up Bureau of Land Management claims, and you have to pay a yearly renewal on the 1st of September. We've been doing this a very long time. It's a little bit quirky to people who haven't seen it before, but to us it's very good. It works very well. We don't have to reduce our land holding as long as we pay our annual renewal, and we only have to get approval to drill, to do ground disturbing work from the Bureau of Land Management, and they are being very cooperative at the present time. So our land status is annual renewals, and as long as we do an annual renewal, we maintain that land. We're not required to do certain exploration expenditure and give up ground like you are in Australia and other countries. So the land title is very good, and when it's provided by the federal government, because the Bureau of Land Management is a federal agency, you can rely on that land title.
And then just a question on funding here. So how long is the company funded for?
Yeah, we're well funded into the back end of 2026. And as we put out results and this very encouraging news flow that we have from these projects, we expect to continue that work with the funding we currently have through to the end of 2026.
And then, so you've secured ground aggressively across both projects. Should investors expect continued acquisition across the US?
We're very close to a lot of people in the US. Our logistics team in Moab are always looking at projects. Lyle is also looking at other projects and other ground. And we are shareholder focused. So if we can find projects that we believe can add to shareholder value and create shareholder value, then we will look to pick those up. So basically eyes wide open, looking at opportunities, but we do believe the two critical commodity projects that we have in our portfolio are potential company makers. So we will continue to fast track the exploration on both those projects.
And the last question here is, what upcoming catalysts should investors be watching most closely for over the next 3 to 6 months?
So we've just completed a drilling program at the Fair Dinkum project. Those results are pending. They've only just got to the lab, but there'll be some really interesting that will be very interesting to get those numbers and then to plan future drill programs. Star Range is something there's some really excitement there. We've got some rock chip samples pending, and we'll put those out to the market before the end of the year. And we've done our aeromag, and we'll report those results. So boots on the ground, remembering that the US is heading into their winter, but in these areas that doesn't restrict exploration. We're not too far north to have large snowfalls, etc. So we can work this project year round, and we are fast tracking the exploration, which creates a news flow, which creates ASX announcements. So we are looking good for creating value next year.
Paul, Lyle, that is all we have time for today. Thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for everyone who attended the webinar today. So we look forward to seeing Diablo progress in the critical minerals space, and thanks again for your time, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, Abby. Thank you, attendees.
Thanks, Abby. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.